You clean, but you never feel finished. You tidy, but it doesn't hold. And at some point you start wondering if this is just how life is now. No, it's not. The problem isn't you. The problem is that your home is full of mysterious open loops and nobody ever taught you how to close them. Let's explore the open loop problem. Now, a psychologist named Bluma Zeigarnik discovered something fascinating in the 1920s. She noticed that waiters could remember every detail of an order that they had not delivered yet. But the moment that food hit the table, the details evaporated. Near order amnesia. The brain holds unfinished tasks in active tension, slowly consuming mental energy until they're complete. Every unfinished task in your home is an open loop, and your brain is holding every single one of them. The dishes sitting next to the sink instead of in the dishwasher, an open loop. The laundry in the dryer since Tuesday, yep, that would be an open loop. And the meal on the counter that you've moved 3 times without opening, you got it. That's an open loop too. And honorable mention to the open loop of missing dishes lost forever in the teenager's bedroom. R.I.P. Research on the Zeigarnik Effect shows that unfinished tasks are about twice as likely to occupy your thoughts as finished ones. Your brain is basically running hundreds of little marathons in the background called unfinished business. And then you're wondering why it feels slow and depleted by noon. Here's how loop living happens. The laundry cycle goes wash, dry, dump on the bed. Wear from the pile, wash again. The part that closes the loop, which is folding and putting away, it never happens. The home is always in a state of mid-process. Something is always half done. And here's the important part. Open loops aren't a discipline problem. They are a design problem. Nobody designed the finish point, so the loop stays open by default. Here's the perfect example of a seamless open loop system. Now, during my years as a nurse, one of the things that struck me early was how seamlessly a hospital functions when the systems are working. And let me tell you, those systems are engineered to work so well, and it is glorious to behold. And not because the people are superhuman. It works because the systems are designed so that the right thing is also the easiest thing. Nothing embodies that more than hospital housekeeping staff. And you know I love them. A hospital without its housekeeping team is not a hospital. It's a building that would fall apart in just a few hours. They are genuinely unsung heroes, and they operate on pure closed loop thinking. Now, in a hospital, dirty linen never, ever touches clean linen. Ever. Soiled linen goes directly into sealed, color-coded bags at the point of use. It travels one direction to the laundry. Clean linen travels a completely separate path back, separate carts, separate routes, separate rooms. The loop between dirty and clean, it's completely closed and completely controlled. Totally different than our laundry rooms where we can't tell what is clean or dirty sometimes. Also, another neat one is biohazard waste, which has one path. It goes in a specific container. Actually, there's a couple different kinds of containers. That container goes to a specific place and it leaves the building on a specific schedule. There's no, I'll deal with it later, because later does not exist in that system. The loop closes automatically. Every room has a defined state: clean, in use, or being cleaned. Never ambiguous. The cleaning process has a defined start and a defined end point. The room is either clean or it isn't, and there's no in between. Nobody has to make decisions because in the moment that the system has already made those decisions for you. And in the hospital, this matters because open loops can cost lives. Let's talk about those room-specific loops. The kitchen loop. The kitchen is where open loops breed fastest because it clearly is the most used room in the house and the one with the most moving parts, so we can see how this could be a really big problem. The closed loop. The kitchen starts with one rule. Dirty dishes have one destination, not the counter next to the sink, not near the dishwasher, not I'll get to it in a minute. You either are hand washing that or you are putting it in the dishwasher. That's it. The moment a dish lands on the counter, instead, the loop opens and it will stay open until somebody makes a decision about it. which, based on how most kitchens work, could be a while. The clean dishes also have one destination: back in the cabinet, not the drying rack. That is not a storage solution. The counter loop is its own conversation, because every single item that lives on your counter should be there because it's used at least once a day, and returning it to the cabinet every single time would be genuinely impractical. So everything else is an open loop sitting on the surface, staring at you and demanding a decision every single time. So for me, I have my on-demand kettle, which always has hot water, and I love it. But I put my toaster away because we only use that once a day. Food follows the same logic. Groceries come in, expired or unused items, they go out on the exact same trip or the same day. The fridge loop closes with what comes in has a plan, and what is done leaves. How much better is your fridge going to smell? Because a fridge full of mystery containers and expired condiments is just a cold open loop, which maybe is the worst kind of open loop. Think about it this way. Your loop would be cook, dirty dishes to the sink or dishwasher, wash, back to the cabinet, full circle, closed every single time, which I absolutely love. And then, of course, many kitchens have a junk drawer, and things go in. Quite often, nothing comes out. And nobody can explain how the batteries got in there, and that one mystery key that we are just too scared to throw away because what's it for? Now, the laundry loop is the most chronically open loop in most homes, and hi, I would be guilty of this. So there's that. Anyway, it's open for one specific reason. It has a false finish point. Most people consider laundry done when it comes out of the dryer, or once it's in the dryer and the dryer's done, I could just live in the dryer for a while. Clean and dry feels finished, but the loop isn't closed until clothes are back in the drawer or the closet. Everything between the dryer and the drawer is still an open loop. It's just wearing clean clothes. Now, I want to know what stage you get stuck at. I hate folding, so often things either live in the dryer or they would live in the basket. So many people, they tell me that they like to fold, which to me is mysterious, but that they hate to put away. So which one are you? Then there's the chair. Every home has one. It starts as a chair, it becomes a surface, and then it gets so normalized that nobody even sees it anymore. That chair is where laundry loops go to die. You can actually excavate that chair and lift up things and be like, oh my gosh, this is what's happening in different layers of my life. Look, that's what was that I wore to Sharon's wedding. So practically speaking, don't start a load that you cannot finish that day. A half open laundry loop, it's worse than no laundry loop at all, because now wet clothes are making decisions for you. And I think we can all collectively appreciate the horror of realizing that you did not switch the laundry over from yesterday. The bathroom loop. Thank God for the bathroom loop, because it's usually the easiest to close because the space is small, the variables are limited, no more messy counters and clothes on the floor. So makeup and hair products, once you use them, you just put them right back to their exact spot after every single use. Empty containers, leave immediately. Not when the new one arrives, not in a minute. The moment something is empty, it goes in the trash or the recycling. An empty bottle on the shelf, it's an open loop. It is taking up space. It's making the shelf look fuller than it is. And yes, this one is painful for me because I know the desire to squeeze, to bang, to pump every last drop out of the containers. But let's together try to work on just doing ourselves a favor and letting them go. And pro tip, make sure you add them to your shopping list ASAP to avoid frizzy hair days. My fellow curlies will understand that one. Another fun one is cleaning supplies can live in the bathroom if that's where they're used. That's what I do. I have toilet cleaner and spray in my bathroom and I love it. It just makes it so easy to do a quick tidy of the room and no carrying supplies from room to room, no hunting, I'll bring it in next time. The loop closes faster when everything needed to close is already there. Now, if you don't want to keep things in there, I totally get it. You can have a cleaning caddy that is really handy too and easy to move around and close those loops. Towels, they have a defined home. A hook or a bar. The floor is not a towel home. The floor is where towels go when the loop is open and they feel bad about themselves when they're sitting down there. And also make sure after you change your clothes or your shower, your dirty clothes go straight in the hamper. Now the paper loop is the most insidious open loop in most homes because paper is small. It accumulates like a slow growing, boring fungus of indecision. Mail comes in and it needs an immediate destination. Just act on it, file it, or trash it. Those are the only three options. There is no fourth option called put it on the counter and think about it later, even though that's what most people do. That pile of mail, it isn't a paper problem. It's a postponed decision wearing a paper costume that has decided its home is the kitchen. 3 simple destinations close this loop completely. Action needed. Things that require a response or a payment. File. Things worth keeping for reference. Although I often will just do a PDF, save it in a file on the computer, and then trash or shred everything else. The loop that closes the moment the mail hits one of those 3 places. It never closes if it hits the counter. The living room loop. The living room is less about cleaning and more about a daily reset, which I love. Everything that comes into the living room during the day has a home somewhere in the house. And at the end of the day, it goes back there. Blankets, remotes, cups, shoes, bags, books, chargers, all of it. 10 minutes at the end of the day closes every loop that accumulated over the previous 16 hours. And it's not a deep clean, it's really just a loop closure, a room closure. And the difference between a home that feels manageable and one that feels chaotic is often just whether that 10-minute reset happens consistently. Remember, nothing sleeps in the living room except for the cat. That's the whole rule. Ah, a special one. The shopping and decluttering loop. You knew I was going to talk about this. Here's where most people miss it entirely. You can close every loop in your home perfectly and still feel like you're losing ground. And that is because the intake loop is open. Everything else is just damage control. Things come into most homes constantly. Purchases, gifts, freebies, hobby supplies, junk mail. Things that seem like a good idea at the time. And nothing has a defined endpoint. The home just absorbs more and more. That's an open loop intake. And it undoes everything else. So let's talk about the 1 in, 1 out rule. One thing comes in, one thing goes out. Same day, not eventually. New shirt arrives, old shirt leaves before the new one is even put away. Or you can even declutter more than one shirt for bonus points to continue to decompress that house of yours. You get a new kitchen gadget that comes in, one leaves before it finds a home in the cabinet. And no, this actually is not about minimalism or living with nothing. It's just about keeping that intake loop closed at the source. Because decluttering without closing the intake loop is exactly like bailing out a boat without fixing the hole. The gift loop. Now, girl, I know gifts are the hardest closed loop to manage because they come with much more emotional weight than regular purchases don't carry. And I know a lot of us hang on to things because somebody gave it to us, they spent their money, and we feel really bad letting it go. But receiving a gift graciously and later letting it go when it no longer serves you are 2 completely separate events. Let's breathe through this one. The gift, it did its job the moment it was given. You appreciated it. Maybe you liked it at the time, but its job is done and you don't want or need it anymore. Keeping something you don't use out of guilt does not honor the person who gave it. It just means that you have something in your home generating low-grade discomfort every single time that you look at it. Guilt is not a closed loop. It's just an open loop with feelings attached. The person that gave it to you wants you to be happy, and they probably don't want you keeping stuff that's cluttering up your house. And if they do want you to keep it just because they gave it to you, they don't need to know that you got rid of it. The exit loop. 1 box. That's the whole system. 1 box or bag that lives somewhere accessible in your home. Maybe it's like in a closet or at the side of the garage or something. The moment something is done, it goes in the box. The exit box has 1 rule. When it's full, it leaves that week. Schedule it. not eventually, not when you don't have time. That very week, the box does not get to unpack itself and move back in. And I think we all have those little family members who are like, oh, what's in that box? I hate that's mine. I want to pull that back. Do yourself a favor. Put it on your schedule. Give it an alarm if you have to. Done to box to out of the house. 3 closed steps. Closed loop systems don't require more discipline or more motivation. They require better design. When the system is designed correctly, the right thing becomes the easy thing. You're not fighting yourself every day. You're not relying on willpower to do what the system should be doing for you. The goal was never the perfect home. The goal is a home that doesn't drain you. A home where things have finish points, where clean actually feels clean, and where you're not perpetually behind something with no finish line. That's what a closed loop home looks like. And once you experience it, open loop living feels exactly what it is, exhausting. Now, if you're like, I really do want to declutter more, but I just don't know what to do. Well, girl, I have you covered because I have this video right here about my Mighty method, which uses 4 easy steps to get that stuff out of your home and systems to keep it gone for good. So you can watch that here. I hope something great happens for you today. Please like, subscribe, give us a hype, stay tidy and mighty. Thank you so much for watching, and I'll see you next time. Bye.